Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with the Gauntlet for the Winter of Woe. Now, this is a pretty interesting setup. There are two paths here today with two new fights, Egon and Spider-Ham, Piggy, whatever you want to call him, okay? And both those fights are not too bad, and they definitely are not the hardest fights in the Gauntlet, and we're going to go over the mechanics for it, some good champs for those fights. I'm going to tell you who I used, the strategies that I used, who I think are good for it, and some good ways to make up your team here. Now, with the Gauntlet, like in years past, for Eternity of Pain and Summer of Pain, there comes these objectives to do, okay? And there are 6 objectives, and those objectives are complete the Gauntlet without this class type on your team, and there are 6 of those, 1 for each class. Now, depending on if you did the robot objective for Absorbing Man and the Grace Point for 7-star Deathless Guillotine, you don't have to complete all 6. You totally could for fun, like I did. You guys know I prefer to play the game than just get the rewards. That's how I view the game. But if you just want to hit that top milestone, get through the pain, don't do one side, don't want to fight Absorbing Man again, hey man, I get it. That's totally cool, and I don't really blame you for it. So we're gonna dive in today to this Gauntlet. But before we even do that, we're going to talk about Piggy and Aegon. So, let's go over, in order, Aegon, okay? So, Aegon here, 7-star Aegon, unduped, but he starts with 1000 combo meter, okay? I like how he's unduped, but his sig ability is just that he adds combo to his thing. But he starts with 1000, so he could totally be duped. But anyway, he has combo shield, so he always has, right, that combo. So, if you get hit by him, honestly, you're probably gonna die. So you gotta watch out for that, because those Furies are very, very potent. However, reinforcing rush, okay? That is going to help you here. Intercepting the opponent's dash attack with a basic attack grants the attacker a reinforced passive and a bulwark passive, increasing block proficiency by 10,000, both lasting 15 seconds. But Mike, what does reinforce do? I don't know that word. Well, reinforce makes incoming attacks unable to crit, okay? So what that's going to do is, if you intercept Aegon, it's going to allow you to block him without dying from the Furies and the crits on the block, okay? And that's how you want to get about this fight, because there is this node here, Cement Shoes. Every 8 seconds, the attacker gains a cement charge. When the attacker blocks an attack, a cement charge is removed. When the attacker reaches 3 cement charges, they are all consumed, and the attacker is inflicted with the root passive for 4 seconds. Now, good frickin' luck dexing his special 1 in root. So you want to kind of avoid that if you possibly can, okay? You want to block him after you intercept when you get a cement charge, so you don't reach 3, so you don't get rooted. Now, if you do get rooted, not the biggest deal in the world. You can keep your striker in the bank. You have plus 200% increased spirit gain rate here from your striker. Okay, so I would recommend not using your striker and always keeping it in your back pocket in case you get rooted. Bait out a dash, kind of do like a wall bank kind of thing into a striker, and then by the time that's over, they're going to have the striker stun, and then you're going to get the root removed on you, and that's going to be the way to do that. Little pro tip for you, okay? So, on top of that, Kinetic Reactor, the defender gains 5% of their max power when striking the attacker's block. Cross Counter, whenever the defender finishes a special attack, unless this timer is already active, the attacker has 8 seconds to knock the defender down with a heavy attack or they're dealt a burst of direct damage equal to 33% of their max health, okay? So that's annoying for sure, because, he's going to be using those special attacks, so you want to continually use those heavy attacks. Now, one thing that could be a little troublesome there is that Clean Slate. When the defender finishes a special attack, they gain a debuff immunity passive for 6 seconds. The duration of this is removed by 2 seconds for each debuff that was active on them when that effect was applied, okay? So, here's the thingy, okay? You have to use heavy attacks after he uses a special, but when he uses a special, he goes debuff immune. Now, there are certain champions who can get around this very easily. For example, White Magneto's passive stun, Onslaught's passive stun against debuff immune, America Chavez and Gladiator and Wasp. They do the passive stun thing when they do the heavy attack, right? Lots of things to do here. But yeah, it's not the worst fight at the end of the day. You just kind of have to know what to do. Now, with Aegon comes a lot of cheese potential for Mystics and Mystic Dispersion, okay? Because he has all these buffs. He has all these buffs all the time. There are lots of champions who could take advantage of that. He's not immune to Nullify. He's not immune to Fate Seal. He's not immune to Neutralize. He's not immune to any of those things, okay? Lots of ways to do that. So what we're going to do now here, I'm not going to give you a list of top 10 champions because there aren't really any specific objectives for this gauntlet. There are class-based objectives. And with class-based objectives, it's going to really come down to your specific roster at the end of the day, especially in a Gauntlet-style setting, and when you have to decide which objectives you want to do, okay? So, what we're going to be doing is going over some keys for this fight, okay? Some absolute keys. So here we go. Bam, that's Spider Pig. Bam, there's Egon. So, some keys for fighting this Egon. You want to intercept so you can get your reinforced passive. You want to heavy after he uses a special attack. You want to block after you intercept, okay? That way you won't get rooted. You want to bring a frickin' Mystic so you can take advantage of all those Fury buffs that he has. Now, who I used was America Chavez. America Chavez is so absolutely insane for this fight. So absolutely insane for this fight, because with Mystic Dispersion, you're going to be gaining power like crazy from those Furies. You're going to be gaining attack rating like crazy, because there's always 6 buffs in the defender. You're going to be reversing the potency of his Furies, making you almost immortal. America Chavez is the best option for this fight, by far, in my opinion, because she has every key imaginable, because you can heavy, even when they're debuff immune, without any issue whatsoever. The final key is to bait the Special 2. Why? Because the Special 1 is kind of annoying, it's kind of long. The Special 2 is very easy to dex, even in root. Okay, even in the corner. Plus, the less often you bait special attacks, the less often you have to use heavy attacks against this guy. It's just going to be the way to do it. Now, any high damage output champion really could do this fight, okay? America Chavez, Longshot, Kushala. The Destroyer is really good because of all the buffs. He ramps up in literally 2 combos. It's so much fun, okay? All those like high, crazy damage output mystics that could take advantage of the buffs. Werewolf by Night, for example, could be good, right? Any champions like that, any champions with debuffs are going to have a really solid time against this guy, okay? And that's a really solid way to go about fighting him. Okay, but if you don't happen to have one of those mystics available for you, high output champions like Hercules or Kate Bishop, champions like that, Hulkbuster, are going to have a good time fighting Egon because they do a lot of damage, and at the end of the day, his node set isn't too restrictive. So that is Egon. You know, you're going to have to kind of build in a counter here to how you want to handle these objectives with your specific roster and what you need, right? So after Egon, you have Danny Moonstar, who is one of the easier fights, right, in Winter of Woe, and after that is Hulkling, who is probably definitely the easiest fight in Winter of Woe. So we'll quickly go over Danny. She just ended this morning, so she should be fresh in your mind, but basically you don't want to parry her, you can block bait, right, and you can bait out a heavy attack and all that fun stuff. You're going to bait the special 2 from her, you're going to dex the special 2 from her, and you're going to kill her. And that's really it. That's really all there is to it. I recommend Hulkbuster. He's so easy for her. He's probably the best option in my opinion. Hercules works, right? Guillotine 2099 works. Hell, Deathless Guillotine works, right? Almost any champion works for Danny Moonstar. Now we have Hulkling. Hulkling, you might not remember, we'll go over very quickly. Hulkling has like Super Power Shield Turbo 1.0, which is the coolest name for any node in the entire game. It's also Make a Stand, alright? So you have to knock him down every 15 seconds. There's Invade, there's Inflated Ego, so he needs the buffs, but he gets the buffs when you attack him. Don't make the mistake I did and bring America Chavez and Kate Bishop, where he will never get buffs, because that synergy removes like his Indestructible and his regen. Oh, so annoying, dude. So annoying. But, funny enough, Kate Bishop, probably the best option for this fight. Use a special 2, right? And you're going to put the effects from the power shield through his block. You're going to get the daunted effects. Every special attack, you're going to be absolutely draining this guy. So Hulkling is not too bad. You want to hit his block, preferably with a special attack using a hero. I used Gladiator for the second time. It was pretty fun. The special 2 hit pretty hard through the block, right? Up next, we have the Pig for the final boss. The Pig, the next new fight here, the next new fight. This fight is really not too bad as well, man. We're going to go over everything that he does. So first and foremost, those heal block passive. Sorry if you're running suicides, you got to turn them off, okay? Because you're going to die. You're going to die, you don't want to die, okay? Not afraid of stings. Now, there are a lot of words here in Not Afraid of Stings. I'm just going to tell you what it does. Don't worry about the words, okay? You're watching the guide because you want to be spoon-fed information, and I'm going to spoon-feed it to you, okay? Here comes the airplane. Can't believe I just said that. Anyway, here comes the airplane with Not Afraid of Stings. Basically, if you have 3 debuffs on you and you use a special attack while you have power stings, you will not take the power sting damage, you will reflect it back to Spider-Ham, okay? And that's how you want to do, because you do a lot of damage back. And guess what? The power stings, there's a lot of them, because there's also 1 too many hits over here. 1 too many hits. When the defender gains a bar of power, the attacker is inflicted with a power sting debuff for 8 seconds. And on top of that, there is Debilitate. Debuffs inflicted by the defender have plus 100% duration. Incredible, right? So there's going to be all these debuffs on you all the time, and guess what? Those debuffs are going to help you, but of course, there's a catch, okay? There's always a catch. There's always a catch. Right over here, Turn the Tide. One of the attacker's special attacks is randomly chosen at the start of the fight. The chosen special attack rotates every 10 seconds. However, if you end your combo differently how you did the previous combo, you can switch that. Now, why does this matter? Because if you use a special attack that is not chosen at the time, you're going to have minus 100% ability accuracy and minus 90% weakness, essentially making it useless and not ignoring the power sting damage, okay? So you really want to make sure you are using the special attack that you have queued up, okay? One more thing. Embrace your fate. If the attacker purifies, cleanses, or is immune to a debuff, they take a burst of direct damage equal to 10% of their max health. You do not want to use Kingpin. You do not want to use Zemo. You do not want to use Mole Man. You do not want to use anything like that. You don't want to purify or cleanse, okay? And cleansing contact. You don't want to hit the opponent's block because you will purify one debuff off of you. You don't want that. That's bad. That is bad news bears, okay? Because you're going to take a lot of damage. 10% of your max health. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it, okay? Now, that is all the nodes here on Spider-Ham. It doesn't seem too bad because it's really not that bad. The worst thing about this fight is this dude's freaking basic attacks being all over the place and his pie on his special 2 and his stupid hammer on his heavy attack. He's so jumpy with his animations. It's so obnoxious. That's the hardest thing about this fight. Let's go over some of these keys, okay? An evade counter is going to help you so much here. Kate Bishop is so good. Kate Bishop is so good because she's going to have the taunt in the corner, the cold snap to avoid the evade, which is going to be absolutely huge, right? You don't want to bring Purifier champions, even though I know that's like, you know, a great way to deal with Power Sting usually. Not in this fight, okay? You want to match the specials with the counter underneath your health bar, and you want to alternate the combo to make sure you do that. On top of that, this one's kind of obvious, but you want to bait the special 1 from Spider-Ham because the special 2 is going to do a lot of damage to the block. It just is, okay? It's just going to do a lot of damage, so you want to bait the special 1, you want to get the taunt on you, you want to do all this fun stuff, and you want to use the special attacks to match the thing. If you do that, if you have some sort of evade counter, so you don't have to worry about always spamming the special 1 as soon as you get it, you're going to have a pretty good time against this guy. Who did I use for him? I used Kate Bishop the first time, I used Venom the second time, and I used Gladiator a little bit. I like tag teamed with Gladiator and Venom, because Gladiator has Cold Snap as well, but he doesn't really have any sort of way to make Spider-Ham use those special attacks like Kate Bishop does. So both Venom and Gladiator, I was having a bit of trouble with Spider-Ham not using his special attacks. That's why I highly recommend Kate Bishop. However, if you're going for all the objectives, you can't use a skill champion on both runs, okay? So keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, Spider-Ham, really not too bad. Just make sure you're prepared before you go in, and you're going to have a good time. We'll quickly go over Nebula as well. So Nebula has Force of Will, she has Galvanize, Gimme Shelter, Outside In, Cold Turkey, and Even Punishment. Basically, I'm just going to tell you what to do. What you need to do for this fight is you don't want to hit her block when she has the shock phase up for obvious reasons, because you're going to get shocked and die. You don't want to get shocked and you don't want to die, because that's not good. That's not good news. That's bad news. It's bad news bears, guys, alright? On top of that, she's going to switch between the shock and the unblockable every time, but she also auto blocks, right? How do you get around the auto block? You need buffs, okay? There are lots of champions with buffs. The hardest thing about these fights week to week is that there are specific objectives to do. You have 250 champions to choose from now, right? In your roster. That makes things so much easier. So you could bring in outside options. Like, for example, you could bring in Hercules. He's probably not going to be great, but he can gain some buffs, right? I believe she reduces the ability actually of like true accuracy. Maybe she doesn't. Yeah, I think that you could literally use Hercules and just like get around her auto block, dude. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can use Hercules for her. And also, look at this stuff. The defender has a 90% chance to auto block basic attacks, but the chance decreases by 15% for each buff on the attacker. So 6 buffs minus 90%, right? And that's it, man. Howard the Duck. One parry. You're done. It's it. Actually, you enter the fight and you're done. You have 5 armor up buffs. More if you manual mash. Howard the Duck, best option in my opinion. Adam Warlock, great option. Angela, fantastic option. Gladiator got the solo for me. So many options here. In my opinion, bring a Cosmic Champion or Howard the Duck and you're going to have a good time against Nebula. Okay? Now we have this guy. Absorbing Man was really like the only downside of all of Winter of Woe, man. All the other fights were great. Aegon's great. Piggy is great. This guy was such a pain in the ass that first week, right? He was such a pain in the ass. But he's a little bit better this time, okay? He's a little bit better. So, Fight or Flight here, I believe this used to be like Buff Toggle Unstoppable, where he just went unstoppable no matter what. There's something you could do. Here, if you're away, you can get the Unstoppable instead. He is going to reduce the duration because of his base abilities, however, that's okay, alright? Just to stay away from him when he goes unstoppable, you're going to have a good time. This is the big thing right here. Always forward, like a shark, because you'll drown if they go backwards. The defender cannot heal above the amount of health they started the fight with. That's huge, dude, because the biggest issue with this fight is that you would do really, really good. You would have one good cycle, you get him down to 30% health, he would use 2 special attacks, he'd be up to 80% health. And that's so freaking frustrating, dude. So, if you die when this guy's at like 30% health, okay, go back in, he won't go above 30% health. So you won't lose your progress. Losing your progress is no fun. That was a mistake. The fight in itself is fine. The biggest issue for me, again, is his AI. He's like not using his specials, and there's brute force. It's very annoying. But if you can get beyond that, you know, Hulk does well, Spider-Gwen does well, Quicksilver does okay, I believe Shang-Chi does fine, right? Lots of champions can do fine against Absorbing Man, and again, you have 250 champions to choose from in your roster here to take down this Absorbing Man, okay? It's not like you're shoehorned into, what was it, Sinister Six objective? That was rough. That was kind of rough. So there's no objective like that this time. One thing to note also is that there are 7-star gates down here. So for the left side, you have to use 2 7-stars. For the right side, you have to use 1 7-star, okay? So that's definitely very interesting to keep in mind, all right? Now, I did recommend to you Kate Bishop, who is a 6-star, right? Kate Bishop can do Egon. Kate Bishop can do Hulkling. Kate Bishop can do Piggy, and she's arguably the best option for the final 2, all right? She could probably do Danny Moonstar too, honestly. She could probably do the entire left side. Then you just bring 2 7-stars along, okay? On the right side, it's 1 7-star. That's fine. You get 2 options. But hopefully you have 7-stars that could do these fights. Again, I can't really outline champions for you to use because it's going to be super duper roster dependent on this. I'm using this video here to teach you how to do the fights, as more so the new ones and a little refresher on the older ones. That's the point of this video. And you have to build your team based on your specific objective situation and what your roster looks like. But that is it for this video. This went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to go on for. I wanted it to be like a quick and easy one, but guess what? That's totally fine, man. You get to look at my pretty face just that much longer. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like and let me know what you think about the Winter of Woe in the comment section below. I'll be seeing you around for the next one.